Look at this.
On away we go, live here at Mohegan Sun and the Sportsbook. It is Sportsbook Live, presented by Mohegan Sun, Mutt and Aton. Bomber Brad along in just a couple of minutes. Week number 4. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Fantastic, my friend. And just pulling a nice TV no-no here. Didn't even realize how shitty this shirt is on the vibe. So if I needed to give anybody any more reason or firepower, what have you, I just did, Mutt. So look at this sucker. This is like the worst
the
thing
stripes
you
aren't a
could
great look.
possibly wear.
That's not a good look for you right now, the stripes.
Well, I had a hoodie on, but then, hoodie shame. It's fine with me. I'll go back to the hoodie.
Hoodie looks good. The dark colors against there. Yeah, you're a TV guy. You go on, what is that channel? What channel do you go on in Philadelphia every week and go spew your sports nonsense? Channel 6?
Yeah, right. You want me to say that now so 1,000 people can hit them up and try to get me fired like they did in Chicago? What do you think? I'm an idiot?
Wait, what happened? Wait a second. We'll get to the sports betting. What
I'm
happened?
at Fox 29, Fox 29 in Philly, and I'm on tomorrow morning and the Eagles pregame show on Sunday. I can't wear stripes. That's all. No stripes.
You look good now. You got the Eagles thing on. Eagles got a big spot this weekend against the Bucs. One of the games that I definitely do want to talk about. Congrats to you.
Not the Patriots.
I don't want to talk about the Patriots. Well, we will talk about the Patriots coming up in a couple of minutes. But as a man who doesn't know his record, anytime he joins this show, live in the Sportsbook Mohegan Sun, we'll get to a great giveaway we have today and a grand prize in a second. You went 2-1 last week. The only one you got wrong was that you had like a little teaser with Jones, the Bengals. The Bengals sucked in prime time, but 2-1 for you, 2-0 for Bomber. And I was the big loser last week, 1-2. I sucked. You guys were good.
Why did you go 1-2? Why couldn't you just at least go 2-1? What was wrong?
It would have been nice. The prop was terrible. Tyreek Hill was not good with Skylar Thompson, and then eventually Tim Boyle, the pride of UConn, he couldn't get to his number. And turns out the Bears might not be good, and I bet on Caleb Williams. So those are my two losers. I can't pick a side.
But here's the thing:
I suck on sides, and it's affecting the show. It's affecting my confidence. It's affecting me in the bedroom. Like there are issues abound because I am 0-3 against on side picks on this show. And I didn't even shave today with the hope that maybe this will turn my luck around and somehow find a winner on this stupid show.
Wait a second. If your sides are impacting your life, and I mean a specific part of your life at home, we need to bring Brad in not as a handicapper, but we need to bring the Bomber in as a therapist at this point. Are you telling me that your poor performance when it came to giving out plays has now spilled over into other areas where you are called upon, Mutt, to perform? Is that what I'm getting? I
am telling you that in a pre-intimate moment, I was explaining to my wife how I had not picked a winner on this show. Yes, that did happen in the last couple.
That's foreplay in the Mutnansky house. I haven't hit a winner in 6 weeks.
But I was explaining to her, like, the public sucks. And I was like, the public's 6-10 last week against the spread. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's the betting gods. Maybe we're all. I mean, it's just not. Maybe it's again. It was. She'd have to. Thankfully, she'd have to say it's not you, it's me. So we got through it. But it did come up in terms of pillow talk, which is concerning to probably you and a lot of people. But it's been weighing me down that I cannot pick a side on this stupid show. And now you've got a better record than me, which that made me feel bad.
Yeah, you should. You should feel terrible about this. Look, do not go home and start some more foreplay with, now Shander's got a better record than me. Just don't do that, all right?
I will try not to. There's some great folks here. They're watching racing. They're watching baseball to get ready for football here in the amazing Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. I will tell you this. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you make your way down here for the show live every single Thursday, 6 until 7, up until the 7th of November, our final show. You can qualify with any $10 sports bet you make while we're on the air. You qualify for not one, but two $100 betting vouchers from giveaway right when the show's over. We pull a raffle ticket. You get the fewer people here, the better it is for you because there's a chance to win if you're here. It's every single Thursday, $10 sports bet, two $100 betting vouchers to give away at the end of the show, and a grand prize, which we announced last week, we'll give away on the 7th. It's a table for 4, food and beverage, and potentially a hotel room, assuming the schedule works out, for you and 3 friends here in the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. All you have to do to qualify is make a $10 bet. $10 bet on any sport. Can be a future, can be a live game, can be a same-game parlay, which you found out yesterday via FanDuel. It's the only bets they take. They're up like 70% of people betting same-game parlays and stuff the last 5 or 6 years. We'll talk to Bomber about that because he has thoughts on parlays. But it's very simple. Want you down here, because once you walk in here, you haven't walked in here yet. Maybe at some point you will, but once
I've
you
been
walk
there,
in
I just haven't been there for this show. Forget
this
I
show.
spent half of my life in New York, Southern Connecticut.
At some point you will be. Once you walk in, the place sells itself. It's a beautiful
Amazing
location they have built. I've talked to a bunch of horse players today. They're already excited for Breeders' Cup. They're in the VIP row back. They're firing away on Churchill Downs. I'm 0 for 3 on racing today. Don't need to talk about that, but it's a great spot. Get your ass down here. Make a $10 bet between 6 and 7. You qualify for a weekly and a grand prize. And we've said it last couple of weeks. You'll be here at some point, correct? You made a promise to me. You will be here. Hopefully, but how about that? Yeah, that 7th, that last show, kind of like a little send off, and maybe you can give away the grand prize on November 7th.
I'm sure Mohegan would love that. Absolutely, sign me up.
Bomber wants to see you down here.
Oh, I can't wait to give Bomber a big hug. You kidding me?
He is. Well, he's might be wearing the Romo jersey again.
He's not a hugger, though. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, he's a hugger. He is. When his Cowboys win, he is a hugger. I did
is that
not
what
win.
it takes?
Yeah, he's when the sports book wins, he's also a hugger. So it has been a
so
good
if you
run.
walk out a loser, you'll get a hug from Brad at least.
Yes, you may lose your shirt here and hopefully bet with your head.
I like it.
But you will get a hug from Bomber in his Romo jersey. Now, again, it's not just me. It is the public once again losing. Public bets, 51% of the tickets. 17, 30, and 1, Shander, against the spread so far this year. A $100 bettor is down almost $1,500 betting the public teams. The second worst start for the betting public through 2 weeks since 2003. 6-10 last week, 5-10-1 the week before, 6-10 to the start of the year. So I admit it's affecting me. It took me a while to find my pick for this show here today. Are you changing your approach at all? Any reaction to the bad start for the public and so many underdogs winning to start the year?
Look, there are certain things that haven't changed, right? Just because we're on some weird ride of variance when it comes to dogs at +5.5 this year doesn't mean that in 3 weeks of NFL football, a key number has just changed. It just doesn't work like that. You're riding a sense of variance. Oh, +5.5 is a terrible number over time to routinely take. Yet there's some small sample size of them, like 16-1 with like 8 outrights, what have you. I'm not changing my approach because of 3 weeks of football. There are certain things that just don't change, Mutt. Dennis Allen, you want a stat now? If you put $100 every single time Dennis Allen as a head coach in the National Football League is favored, like last week, right, against the Philadelphia Eagles, you are now down $1,700. That's worse than your picks and my picks combined on this show. That doesn't change. Quarterback trends as far as guys who can lose football games, head coaches who come in outmatched and just undermanned or just in tough situations as favorites. Stuff like that doesn't change, right? I'm still on the under for Baltimore and Chicago this year. I'm not going to chase this week and just try to fade Baltimore every week. That ticket stands. So to answer your question, nothing should change with your process, but look back and say, all right, why did I get something wrong? Track bets, figure out what's working, figure out why something isn't working. Maybe it is variance. Maybe you're just on a really bad stretch right now when it comes to sides, or maybe you don't know your ass from your elbow when it comes to picking who wins a football game.
But how about this, though? The 7+ point dogs, right? There's been 4 of them. They're 4-0 to start the year. First time ever that the 7+ point dogs have started 4-0. Do you see, because you're looking at this stuff every single day, okay? Do you see a reaction yet from the sports books? So you're shopping all these lines. That's what you do at Odd Shopper. You're putting people in the right direction. Are you noticing, forget your process, are you noticing a reaction by the sports books, an overreaction? Anything we can take advantage of in week 4 that you're seeing them do now based on all these dogs winning and the public being down so much through 3 weeks?
Let's earmark this, right? Because Bomber's going to come back, and I'm curious to see where he goes with this. I want to throw the same exact process back to him, because what I see, especially on Sunday night, last year, right up to this year, right up until really after week 1, when everybody was bitching and moaning that they got crushed. What I've seen is opening lines, and I just mean look-ahead lines like from Sunday night when the actual line pops, not something you bet 3 or 4 weeks prior to the game, but that Sunday night before the week. I've seen ridiculous numbers that are simply unplayable. 7, not 7.5. 6, not 6.5, right? Very little 8s that you know are going to dip to 7. There's very little, think of it like you're bidding on a house. There's very little low number to draw attention and to drive up a bid. It's basically just set. And you're very lucky if you're getting ahead of a number. And a lot of the times, as you see, there's 2.5 or there's 2. And what happens? It moves to 2.5 and it moves back to 1, maybe 1.5 in between. Who gives a shit? Those numbers don't matter. 3 is what matters, but it very rarely, if ever, touches 3. So what I've seen is far less liability, if you will, on these opening lines as they pop, Mutt, and far less movement to where the books are left looking back like, wow, we just left ourselves 4 points of vulnerability on a line that moved. I just haven't seen that, which makes it harder to snipe stuff on a Sunday night when those lines have popped, for me at least.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, yourself included, you're betting on Sundays. Guys like me, we're waiting to see where the money comes down. Maybe that's the wrong way to do it. I like waiting later in the week. But, I mean, again, I'll give you an example tonight that I'm glad we brought this up. And I like doing this last week, so we're going to do it again. I want to talk about the Thursday night game in this opening segment. And this Thursday night game, from what I can tell, forget the look-ahead line, but Cowboys and Giants, big game tonight. There'll be a ton of Giant fans in here tonight. There's a Giant. Connecticut is a massive, Giant background. This place will be packed. So it was 4.5 to start the week. It got to 6 at one point yesterday. And as I sat down with you today, I'm seeing it back to 5.5 and 5. Like, these are all dead numbers. They're all in that 4.5 to 6 range. What the hell do you make of this? Because I was annoyed I got a bad number, but it's been moving around so much that I feel confident in my pick on tonight's game. But the movement back and forth, I feel like this is sort of, I don't know, it felt off for the last couple of days, the way that I read it. How have you read it, and where do we sit right now at FanDuel with the tide and the total?
The problem that we're facing is overreaction, right? The problem that people are looking at is because of that stupid 5.5 trend. Now, all of a sudden, people are looking at it like, well, you know, you've got this stretch of, let's say, like 5.5 to 3.5 or something along those lines. But the reality, of course, is that 6 is the number to hit. This is not moving. So I got it at 6 earlier on another book, right? Like I got it because I'm in PA and stuff changes, what have you. So I saw this move to 6 and I jumped on the Giants at 6. It's a key number. It's still an important number when it comes to football. Plus 5.5 becomes irrelevant because the line movement from 5.5 really down to 4 is the same exact number. It just looks a little different, right? So that line movement at 6, somebody was pushing it. Think of it this way. Somebody wanted it to get to 6. So they were going to push this thing. They were going to push this thing. And as soon as it got to 6, how fast was it at 6 for you up in Mass? For me, it was like, oh, shoot, I got an alert and moved to 6. I bet it. I put it out of the Discord. It was already at 5.5.
It was not there long yet. So I saw the same thing. And I just, the weird back and forth moving. So it's not, did you bet it just on the number? Or did
Hell
you
yeah, I bet it because of the number.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Absolutely, I bet it because of 6, because it's a short week for both teams, because the Giants right now are desperate and they have a backdoor cover built in with Daniel Jones running all around. And we'll talk about this game. But what got me, Mutt, more so than anything, was Dak Prescott walking into that tunnel, yelling at people to jump off the bandwagon now. That's a rattled individual. That's somebody who is well aware of what's going on around him. That's somebody who is not prepared to play football on a short week.
He owns the Giants. He's 12-2. What do you mean he's not prepared? He's 12-2 against the Giants. The Giants have their second and third quarterbacks out in this game. See, so my handicap is not the number, okay? You handicap the number. You took the 6. I give you credit. I missed it. But before the week, I was pissed because I missed the 4.5. I played it at 5.5 because the Cowboys have a built-in benefit here. They get a Giant team that has a banged-up secondary. They get a Daniel Jones who sucks in prime time, and you get Dak who owns this Giant team. So I didn't play the number. I played the teams. And Bomber will talk about this when he joins us, not just as a Cowboy fan, but he was talking before the show about this is week 4, week 5, week 6. You find out who the good teams are. I still think, even though the Cowboys one of the favorites to get Bill Belichick as the next coach, I still kind of think Dallas is good and the Giants might suck. So I played it at 5.5. I feel good about it. Although you're the third person now who's jumped on the Giants and got 6 or played the Giants at 5.5. So maybe
who are the other 2 people? Are they smarter
two
than
randos here? Just 2 randoms here. One guy had like mustard all over his shirt, and he likes the Giants. And one guy told me it's going to rain, so the Giants looked at the forecast. There's no rain in New Jersey tonight for the game.
Look, both sound smarter than me. Mustard guy and rain guy.
So I played Dallas, and I just played it for I think they're better. That's my super smart handicapping idea. Short week, they're more talented, can't cover up front. All these people hammering the Devin Singletary prop today is 13.5 receiving yards, the most bet prop in America, apparently. Good luck with that. Any feel on the total at 44.5? Where's this thing been the last couple hours?
Yeah, I want no part of this total, to be honest with you, because there's one play that I threw in here, and I boosted it to plus 3,600. It's on FanDuel, in fact. So let me see if I can actually pull this play up here. But
You like that?
I need the Giants. Here's what I need, Mutt. I need the Giants to get me 20 points tonight. How realistic is it for you that the New York Football Giants can put up 20 points tonight? Now, look, I boosted this play up to 36-1. So I'm getting it at a half unit.
Yeah, FanDuel had a 50% profit boost on any bet for tonight. I saw that earlier. Yeah.
Which is what I did. I boosted this sucker, right, up to 30, I think it's 36-1 is what I got it to, right? If the New York Giants can get me 20 points tonight, this bet cashes. I don't see the Dallas Cowboys letting me down in the sense of they're desperate. And Aubrey, their kicker, he's going to be working tonight because they can't leave points on the field. You can't mess around in a division game on a short week and get cute on your not everybody is Nick Sirianni, some idiot who doesn't know what the hell he's doing when it comes to 4th down calls. So they're going to have to settle at times for a kick. If I can get 20 points tonight, 10 in the first, 10.5 second, this hits. So I'm looking at it thinking, all right, if the Giants get me 20 points,
you're probably leaning over.
Total goes over,
yeah,
right?
You're on the over with that.
I'm not playing the total. I don't want anything. I love the Giants at 6, and that's it.
That's a much better. That's a much better way of playing it. I mean, you found a way to take a number you kind of liked and to boost the odds up from the minus 115 or whatever it is to 36-1 or whatever, 300, whatever you're getting on there. So I like that. I'm with you. Normally I would lean under, but the Cowboys defense is not very good. I could see both teams potentially scoring points. That's why I'm going to be on the Cowboys minus 5.5. I feel like 6 was the number to get. I missed out. I played before that. I'm playing Dallas as being the better team. I'm playing Dallas as being better.
Look, you wouldn't lay 6 though, right? If the line's at 6 now, would you lay 6?
No, okay. I wish I had 4.5, but I did not get the best of it. I did a lot of yard work this week, and so I was not around when people were hammering the 4.5 up to whatever it got to 6 at one point.
Doesn't that factor into your schedule? Can't you do yard work on a day in which the line is already like do the yard work on a Thursday? Don't do the yard. What were you working on Monday?
Like it's a 3-day process. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cap off of the aerating to really aerate the ground.
You live on a golf course?
Of course, I have a decent sized yard in northern central Massachusetts.
You aerate your greens?
Yes, you got to aerate in the fall. Do you not have a lawn there in Pennsylvania? You got to dethatch in the spring.
I don't know, man.
These guys they're nodding their heads here in the sports book. And you got to aerate and overseed, put some lime down in the fall. Jeez.
The Northeast is the most reprehensible climate that anybody could choose to live in. Why do you
live here? Why do you live here then?
If my wife wasn't from where I am currently living, we would be on a beach somewhere in the tropic or Florida. I'm fine with my dad's in Florida. I'll move to Florida. I'll move to a place in Tybee Island. Do you even know where Tybee Island is?
I have no idea. I don't like planes. I don't want to travel. See, I'm
driving. I'm not flying either. I'm driving.
You can fly to Tybee. You can fly to an island. You can drive to an island.
It's in South Carolina. It's right by. So I drove to the Super Bowl one time. I drove from Philly. I rented a Benz from Philly, and I drove it.
Wow.
And I drove it down to Atlanta. Right, so I didn't have to fly to the Super Bowl because I was working down there. And I just drove so that I could bring some stuff to Puff with me, and I didn't have to fly down with it. It was great. I had the best time working that week.
That's talking travel. You should have told me the stupid chair's in the way again. I'm trying to fix this camera. You didn't tell me the chair's there. All right, let's take a quick 30 seconds.
Fine.
I want to talk about some other Week 4 games involving local teams. Bomber Brad joins us here at 6:30. It is Sportsbook Live Mohegan Sun, back in 30 seconds.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
Someone reached out on Twitter to ask if they could get Bomber Brad's picks. He's been on fire. Bomber was 2-0 a week ago. He's the sportsbook manager here at Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook. I said, nope, we got to listen. He will give his picks at about 6:45 on the show. You got the Giants locked in at +6. I will hit the Cowboys, lay the 5.5 here on Thursday Night Football. We'll get Bombers taking all this stuff, including the Rob Gronkowski appearance last week. That after we got off the air, Gronk entertaining the fans here at Mohegan Sun was something to watch. We'll talk to Bomber about that.
You were coming under heat here a little bit. I had to step in and defend you a little bit, but the Odd Shopper crew was a little curious, to say the least.
Go ahead. With what?
Well, you got to pull your camera up. You keep tinkering every time you tinker. All right. Going back to the golf analogy, you just hit a 280-yard drive down the middle of the fairway, and you're looking at your grip. You're fine. You look great.
Tell the Odd Shopper crew to screw off, okay? I'm by myself here. There's no help. I got a couple nice technicians, but I got to run the show and I got to host the show. Okay, you got to produce it. I have to host it. It's a lot of stuff going on. Okay.
The only thing real quick, the only thing they had the issue with, there were a couple people who were just a little curious about the line of questions. That's all. So I had to step in and explain there was some things going on and whatnot, and that, that wasn't necessarily the real Slim Shady, a.k.a. Mike Mutnansky.
I thought Gronk was good. The Brock Bowers thing.
It was fantastic.
To his credit, he's going to be ahead of schedule on Brock Bowers because he might be the best tight end in the NFL. We'll talk to Bomber about
move it up.
Okay, better? Worse? No? Yes?
Do you want me to run the ad again?
Who's in for Mohegan?
We love Mohegan Sun. We'll fight. Listen, they're here for the content, not my stupid camera angle. Some other Week 4 games that we have to talk about here, and Bomber will join us at 6:30. Let's start with the team you mentioned, Patriots and 49ers. Can we pull up the odds here on Patriots and 49ers? I'm torn because the story here in New England is not the game itself. It's the result. Like if they lose the game, Aton, does that mean Drake May plays next week? If they win, does that mean that they'll keep Brissett next week against the Miami Dolphins? Like I'm more interested in that angle of the game than I am like rooting for the Patriots to win or lose, because I don't want Drake May to play. I want Drake May to sit for a few more weeks. Only played 30 games in college. This whole Jaden Daniels thing, he played 55. He played many more games than Drake May did. So the angle here is not like, hey, are they going to win the game because the win-loss record? It's if they get blown out, is it going to be Drake May? This feels like an awesome get-right spot for San Francisco. I probably won't bet the game, but at 10 or 10.5 last time I saw, I could see San Francisco blowing doors in this game. Any lean here, side or total, San Fran and Patriots start there with Week 4.
Yeah, I mean, just tell me what to root for the Patriots getting blown out of the building, right? I guess maybe San Fran anytime, touchdown defense.
Yep. Antonio Gibson overs in that game probably mean they get blown out. Means that probably Ramondre Stevenson fumble at some point. Gibson has had over his number. We'll get to his prop coming up later in the show. You're probably rooting for multiple picks for Jacoby Brissett in some sort of blowout that way. You mentioned San Fran defense.
Anytime touchdown is 6-1. It's 6-1. I mean, that's a 9, maybe 10-1 bet. And it's down.
That's how bad the Patriots are. That's how bad they are in that spot.
Here's the thing, though, right? Real quick. You could. This is like such a minor scope, I guess, that you're looking through. But you could play player props. Like you could try and run. We don't have everything up yet. Obviously, it's just touchdowns for now. But you could run a negative game script for the Patriots where Drake May is in. What, second half? Like, how bad do you think it would take in order for May to get put in.
See, I don't know if they want to throw him. Given how bad their offensive line is, my idea was that Drake May starts next week against Miami.
Well, throw him in against the Jets.
Well, and almost got killed in that game. Almost threw a pick on the first pass, and that offensive line stinks. So maybe you're right. Maybe he does go in there. You can build in some Drake May stuff if they do post it on FanDuel.
No, I don't want Drake May. I would fade people that would say, like, first thing you would have to do, Mutt, is you would have to look and say, all right, if there's a negative game script, how fast does Brissett get pulled? Meaning, how much time does the starting unit have with Drake May, assuming that they don't pull some skill guys? I don't even know how deep they are. Offensive linemen are going to stay out there. That's for sure, right? That's my point, though. Is like, that's a variable that doesn't change, to be fair. So let's look at this real quick. How bad does it need to get for Jacoby Brissett? And how long, therefore, does Drake May play in that football game?
Well, it's also this. He could get hurt. I mean, I thought he was hurt in that game. Amazon Prime did a terrible job with the broadcast last Thursday, watching it here in the sports book. But one time, it took him a long time to even get up. Like, the way he's getting hit, he might get hurt. So forget negative game strip. You might get him in this game because Brissett just gets his ass kicked by the San Francisco front foot.
How long do you think that happens? How long do you think they kick
the other crap out of this guy? It could be 21-zip, or he could be hurt in the second quarter of that game. Worst case scenario.
Look, if this kid comes in the second quarter, I think you would start to look at carries for Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe you would look at another back if you think that Stevenson.
Yeah, I'll pitch Antonio Gibson later on in the show. So I like the idea of looking at the game script. Any lean for you, side or total in schemes? On any of your plays?
I hate everything about this football game. 10 is the fifth highest key number. It's not as big as 14 by any means. I would lean San Francisco here. San Fran's not even a great teaser piece because you're bringing them down on a 7-point teaser to 3.5, which is the worst possible number you could take week in and week out. There's nothing appealing. This is a microcosm of your football team. There is nothing appealing. You are now, do you understand what New England is doing? You are now traveling to other teams and other cities and bringing them down to your level. That's what's happening with the Patriots.
I don't disagree. They're the most boring team in football. I think the worst team in football. Actually, I bet them this week, after their last game, I bet them at 12-1. After already betting him at 3.5 to 1 into the worst record in the NFL. Once Carolina won, I felt pretty good about that. 12-1, the Patriots' worst record in the NFL.
Benching Andy Dalton just won you that bet. Or benching Bryce Young, pardon me. Won you that bet.
The red rifle is back. All right. Speaking, you mentioned teaser pieces. Jets, Broncos, next local game on the schedule. Jets are big favorites, but at last check, 7.5. I think they're an awesome teaser piece. Jets and Broncos, I would lean the big favorite in this spot. Bo Nix kind of stinks. I know Sean Payton did some things last week with him, but I'm not buying it. I like the Jets over the Broncos, and I think the Jets as a teaser piece down to 1.5 is one of the best teaser pieces on the board this week.
Look, man, I think if you want to tease them down, fair. I would not say anything against that. You're basically getting them laying a half point, so I'm fine there. But I would not take anything more than that. In fact, this is a 7. Like, I bet Denver. You know, you can follow my Pickett stuff out there. One of your guys is accusing me of doctoring my Pickett, right? Which is bullshit in its own right. But you can, I bet Denver plus 7.5 this week. And I think that, first off, you're getting a number. You are getting the second biggest key number in the NFL. You're getting a team that clearly is traveling. They're giving up 17 or fewer per game through, 3 weeks? Which is a great system to abide by if you're looking at teams dogs defensively, giving up 17 or less in weeks 3 or 4. And, this is not a good football team overall that comes in, and I don't think it's deflating. They were already on the road. This is not a team that won at home and now has to leave and turn around and hit it. This is a squad right now that fits that system. I also don't know what I'm getting from New York following a pretty big emotional win over a team that has caused them angst and dismay for decades, to where that's a big win over I get it, the Patriots suck, but that's still a big win, emotional win for the New York Jets for a bunch of different reasons. And now they're at home, a 1:00 game. Here comes the Denver Broncos. All of the idiots on the Fan and the ESPN station in New York are saying, oh, this is a blowout. I'm taking the hook here at 7.5.
All right, I think Jets and Chiefs is your teaser to get you, I won't say rich, but put some money in your bank account at some point this week. One more here locally. Your Eagles. Eagles, Bucks. You and Bomber on the Eagles last week. Now they go to Tampa. Tampa off that loss to Denver. I have a play in this game, which I'll save for our best bets end of the show. What do you want to do here? 1.5 home dogs, 42.5. That total was 44 24 hours ago. The under getting pounded in that game, Tampa and Philadelphia. What do you want to do with your local team with a little sweatshirt you have on? And you'll be on Fox 29 tomorrow, probably saying how great the Eagles are and how great the fan base is and how fancy Nick Sirianni is. So give it to the people. What do you want to do with Philadelphia?
You nailed me, Mutt. I've made a career in Philly off my optimism. I think looking at this game, look, in all transparency, this was the first bet that I placed on Sunday. The first bet that I placed was Philadelphia -2. I thought it would move 2.5. Maybe we'd get lucky and it would be pushed to 3. Who cares? Anything 2.5 or less, it's the same exact number. It doesn't matter to me. I'm laying the 2. I'll tell you the biggest reason why I'm laying the 2 here and why I love Philadelphia to win this game outright and cover is what's happening on the ground. It's not just Saquon Barkley. These numbers are ridiculous. They're gaining 5 yards per carry on the ground. The Bucs are giving up 4.9 on the ground. I know last week was a disappointment. Everybody's expecting them to bounce back and regress to the mean. But again, like we talked about with Dallas, how good is Tampa? What exactly are they bouncing back to? What mean are they truly regressing to? Philadelphia is only really moving north or higher with their trajectory once they figure out this absurd dynamic with Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore. The reality, though, is they are a good enough team, as we've seen over the last 2 years, to win bad games or ugly games, if you will. The running here is just too hard to ignore. Philly as well. You look at what they've done over the past couple of weeks. They're winning inside the box, so they're performing better, even with that loss against Atlanta, which was just insane. And meanwhile, Tampa, who has put together a good season from a record standpoint, is not really outperforming their opponents. It just happens to be at the end of the game, they wind up winning. That's not sustainable so much as just outperforming your opponents week in and week out. Variance will come back to the Eagles far more than it will be for the Bucs. By the way.
Sure.
This was the same team that, thank God, ended what was one of the worst collapses you'll see in professional sports, and that's the 10-win Eagles last year just falling off the face of the earth.
Game, yeah, revenge game.
They fell right here. You're telling me that Jalen Hurts, assuming that Nick Sirianni knows how to read a calendar.
No A.J. Brown, no Devonta Smith, no Lane Johnson. That's why the line went from 2 to 1.
Lane Johnson is an issue.
You're on the wrong side of the game. Sorry, you're on the wrong side.
Why? What are you getting out of injury?
You got a bad number. The line moved the other way. They're betting against you.
Wait a second. I never took a bad number.
You took 2. Now it's 1.5.
What's the no? I want forget the line for a second. All right. Tell me why you honest, and your play, I think, is just as sharp as mine. So I don't want to give anything away here, but just from a who wins the game standpoint, why are you so hard right now on Tampa?
Because the Eagles are banged up and they're rattled and their coach is rattled. The coach is starting to see what's going on. That Bill Belichick is now looming over all these teams, by the way, happening to Dallas, happening to Philadelphia. Like Bill is sitting here chumming it up with Matt Patricia. He's on 7 million shows. He's laughing at the Patriots. He is going to go to the highest bidder. And he was already rumored to potentially go to Philadelphia in the past. Lurie wants him. The team wants him.
He doesn't.
Without the weapons available and Lane Johnson out, they're going to lose to Baker Mayfield. Philadelphia, I know everyone's focused on October and this Trey Turner documentary. No, it's about your Philadelphia Eagles losing in Tampa this week. It is going to happen and be so glorious.
Don't you dare disrespect Trey Turner on this show. Don't you dare. Look, here's the reality.
They gave ovation.
Look.
Stop. Okay, listen. What?
Here's the harsh reality of what you're talking about. Lane Johnson's injury. Okay, Nick Sirianni is a boob. He's a bozo. Okay, but he still found a way to coach his way to the Super Bowl, and he is 17-8-1 against the spread when seeking revenge. Guess what? This is a revenge game. And you just look at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith because you're just focused on the shiny keys and just The
Yes, I like
fascination
talent.
of that.
Weird. I like these talented players. Wide receiver, the Patriots. I would kill for either one of those guys in the Patriots. If the Mario Douglas in this game.
Hey,
Yes,
did you guys
I'm
win the
envious of that
Super Bowl with
receiver.
Randy Moss or not? I forget.
They did not. They did not. They did not. That
Best
was
wide receiver outside of Jerry Rice.
Yes, fluke. Tough loss to the Giants. Thanks for rubbing it. See, look at you. I bring up the Eagles stuff, and you bring the Patriots losing the Giants undefeated season. What an ass.
Can we talk about Tom Brady, by the way? I finally caught something he said. What the hell is wrong with this guy? He's calling Lamar Jackson the eraser, and Lamar Jackson has no choice but to awkwardly accept it. I felt so bad for Lamar, Mutt. So bad for this guy.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm too close to Tom to talk about his performance so far on Fox. 30-second break. Then we'll get the performance of Bomber Brad. Brad Bryant joins us. 30 seconds here. Sportsbook Live, Mohegan Sun. Don't go anywhere.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, crafts, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
Look at this.
Did you hear that? Hey Todd, did you hear that in your microphone back there? The crowd going absolutely no. Where's that Bomber crowd again? Let's hear it for Bomber.
That's awesome. That's louder. You know what?
Bomber.
That's louder when the actual Tony Romo walks into Uncasville up there. Like that's louder.
What's up, man?
That's what happens when you give out winners.
But did you just give everyone cash and cheer your name? Is that what happened here?
I do. I give out winners.
What you
Daily give out winners.
Place is bad. This is gonna be a fun night tonight. Expect a lot of Giants fans here tonight.
Yeah.
I was assuming with Connecticut.
They'll be here for about halftime. The only Giant fans will still be here after halftime are the ones working here.
One right there,
Now,
Jordan, Augie, yeah. They'll probably change at halftime.
You'll wear the Cowboys gear all night just to intimidate Giants bettors? Is that what the deal is?
I'm going home as soon as we get through with this Academy Award winning podcast. I'm going to go
Emmy.
home.
I think they give Emmys.
Emmys. I'm going home and watch.
Well, we'll see. The Panthers will play this weekend. We'll see what the Panthers do. Excellent job by you last week. Somebody reached out on Twitter and said Bombers on fire. Just give me your picks. I know you have to listen to the show. 2-0 last week. Navy outright. It was funny. I was watching you talk to your future son-in-law on Thursday night, and he said, "Who should I bet?" And you said Navy, and he's like, "I'm not going to bet Navy." He's like, "You must not like money." And of course, Navy wins. They went outright. You have the Eagles on Sunday outright. 2 outright dogs. You must feel good about yourself right now. Public's losing. You're winning.
Well, I do. And that kind of happens, believe it or not. When the public does well, I don't do well. So I'm kind of always with the sports books. It's weird how it always works like that. But
Gronk was here last week. What did you think of Gronk after we got off the air with your VIP and then shooting T-shirts off the balcony here at halftime?
So you never know with Gronk. I mean, he loves to have a good time. I will say this. We've had several meet and greets here, 10 different people. Gronk and Dustin Poirier were the best 2 that we've ever had. They signed everything. He interacted with the crowd. You can't beat it when Gronk comes. He just wants to hang out with everybody. He stayed. He watched the game in the mezzanine.
That's cool.
So it was really a great night. Great night.
Man, whenever you see somebody like that in their element, right? I mean, this is where he played and this is home. It's unlike anything else, right? And the NFL brings it out. Now, again, we both live in football environments first and foremost. I don't care what happens with the Red Sox. Save that nonsense, Mutt. It's a football mentality. And, we see it here too. And as much shit as I give you guys up there about the Patriots and everything along those lines, like working with Rodney Harrison and getting a chance to really interact with guys who played on some Super Bowl teams, that it's like Philly, and it's even bigger of a city than Philly, but this small town mentality. I bet it was like Rob went home to a town of like 300 people, and it's that same feeling in Boston when he pops up, same feeling here in Philadelphia if we see Brian Dawkins or Brian Westbrook or anybody. Trent Green can come back here in Philadelphia. People, oh man, like it's a different feel and it's a different vibe like that.
Absolutely. And we love it when we get those guys here like that. And And most of them are that way. I've only met a few in my long career that really weren't nice like these guys. Most of them actually are pretty hospitable when it comes to events like this.
Let's talk about the week. It was 6-10 was the public against the spread. Eitan brought it up earlier to ask you, and he's right. Like, what have you noticed here this week in week 4? What are you focused on with the underdogs absolutely crushing? How has your approach changed? Do you think the sportsbook's approach has changed here in week 4, knowing how many dogs have won the first 3 weeks?
I don't know if their philosophy or anything has changed. I do think there's been a lot more overreactions this week. I know both of my plays in college, I think the line is wrong. And I think there's some games in the NFL, there's some overreactions there as well. So I think this is the week where you can tell. I mentioned it to you earlier. I heard you talk about it on the show. I think this is the week where you'll begin to kind of see who is the better teams, who are the middle teams, who are the teams that are going to be at the bottom for the entire season.
Well, ask both you guys, and I'll start with you, Eitan. Who's the team you trust the most right now? Like, who's the team? Forget having to cover the spread. You have one team to win a game. Isn't it Kansas City again? It feels like the same story over and over again. Mahomes in Kansas City. After that, I don't know who I really trust right now to want to place it, like, to feel confident about heading into week 4.
Look, the NFC is as wide open right now as it gets, and I think people are waiting for Minnesota to turn into a pumpkin, right? Teams like that. Yeah, no, I get it. Like, I get it. I don't think people are willing. But that's my point, right? Meanwhile, in the AFC, you've got the Steelers who are undefeated, and I don't know how people want to buy deep into that with the quarterback situation, although Justin Fields has looked fantastic and give him all the credit. There isn't a squad that I think you look at right now and say, okay, you put them in the AFC Championship game or you put them in the Super Bowl, that's the team that's going to knock off Kansas City. Because one thing we've seen so far with this run for the Chiefs, and I saw it right down to that final play with James Bradbury, is the Chiefs don't play pretty. The Chiefs win these games as they go deeper into the postseason. They turn into grit, right? There's no floss. There's no Deion Sanders up by 30 shit. It's just you're gutting out these games, and you're probably going to get a call or two that aids you. So, no, I don't. Like, there is no team that I look at right now. Buffalo is not that team. They are not that team for me until they beat them in the postseason and they hold a lead in the postseason, and I'm proven wrong by Kansas City. But to your point, Mutt, I think it's more like, who's going to screw you over? Like, which team is going to undo you in the long run? Is it the 49ers, maybe?
Who is going to screw you over? Yes.
Right?
You trust anyone?
Just the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can anybody else. I'm with you. I think Buffalo, actually, and that's going to give it out. I'm going against Buffalo this week. I don't see it. I think the Chiefs are the only one you can trust, and I think the other teams in there, you just got to wait and see. But I think we'll know more this week. I really do. There's a lot of matchups that these teams are in the same boat. They're playing the same way. So I think you'll see a lot more this weekend.
All right, came out this week. I thought this was an interesting story to bring up, Bobber. The Parlay talk, FanDuel came out, your parent company, and basically said, like, parlays are our business. 70% of our NFL and NBA bets are parlays. 50% of the pregame handle, parlay. Parlay percentage increased 65% for FanDuel in the last couple of years. Like, I know we've talked on my radio show before, talked off the air about how you approach parlays, same game parlays. I would love your audience here on your own show, Sportsbook Live from Mohegan Sun, sort of an expert's veteran opinion on how you approach parlays, same game parlays, multi-game parlays, as somebody's bet games and book games now for 40 years.
So you have, I'm not opposed to parlays. Like, as a bookmaker, is it good for the house? Absolutely. We want people to play parlays. The more teams they put in there, the better it is for the house. That's just the way it is, right? But I don't think as a player, there's anything wrong with playing 3 teams and 4 teams. You get above 4 teams, you're really just fighting with a short stick, and you're just going to be a loser long term. But I think you can utilize the parlays like we discussed on, I think, show 1 was, parlay some futures. Parlay, like tonight, Dallas, so if you think they're going to win tonight or you think they're going to win the Super Bowl, take them tonight. Parlay them with an NBA basketball future. So with parlays, try to use them to your advantage. Don't get hung up on these same game parlays because it's going to pay X amount. I think that's where people get sideways is the opportunity to win so much money is there with the parlays, and I think it gets people off the beaten path. And you're not going to win long term playing parlays. Will you hit one eventually? Absolutely, everybody does. But I think long term, you're going to be up against it. And if you play more than 4 teams, I just think you're taking too much of the wrong side of it.
He's an honest man, Eitan. That's why I like talking to him, because he's telling you from experience that it's something that he's seen people sort of chase over the years. But they're fun to play. They're fun to play.
Yeah, look, it's like most things in life, right? It's not good for you, but damn it tastes great. Okay, like that's fine. We all partake. I don't care if you're vegan, whatever the heck it is, right? Like everybody has a cheat day on something. Everybody sneaks something, and in betting, are all of us collectively, we parlay, right? Like Bomber's not the only guy who's working out a book who would throw down a 2-leg parlay, or there may be even a 3-leg 6-point teaser moving through a couple of key numbers. And you know what? Not to get rich, but because you're sick and tired of grinding out 6% edges on solo plays, that it's just nice to have a ticket that has 3 things on it. That's all.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I mean, everybody does it. Like I do it. I mean, you go to the racetrack, I'm playing at least 1 ticket a day that's probably got no chance to hit when I play it. I know that. I'll play a parlay occasionally the same way. Like, I'll find 5 or 6 games. I'll put them all on the money lines or something. So I get it. I just don't think people need to get caught up as all they do is parlays, because just makes it so hard. And you're right. We're so in tune with the numbers now and the juice. It's just so hard to hit. You just can't keep throwing good money after bad trying to chase it.
I want to get to your picks here in a second. We've told people about the great stuff going on here in your sportsbook, Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. You can reserve tables, you can reserve seats, come down and place bets. You place a bet during our show on Thursday nights, a $10 sports bet. You have a chance to win a couple $100 vouchers at 7 o'clock and a grand prize in November. It's a great deal. Tell these guys, they just walked in. Tell these guys how to bet, Mike. Where's Mike? Somebody help these guys out so they can qualify for the big giveaway here tonight at 7 o'clock. But on October 25th, Friday night, Eitan, do you have that slide for the people that are watching on YouTube? I want to give people an opportunity to see what you guys are doing here Friday night 5th. Now, I did not grow up a Mets fan. I grew up a Red Sox fan, but I know a lot of people in the area are diehard Mets fans, and you are bringing in some of the Mets greats on October 25th for a Q&A here in your sport.
Yeah, pretty special night we've got going here, especially if you're a Mets fan. And we've already had Doc Gooden once, and he was fantastic. But we're going to have Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, and Keith Hernandez here on October 25th for a meet and greet, mean goal pictures, hang out with the crowd. So that's on the 25th of October. You can actually go on to MoheganSun.com under events, look it up, and you can actually purchase your tickets. I think we're throwing in a few cocktails for you as well. But if you're a Mets fan, I don't know how you could miss this event. So I'm a baseball fan, so I'm excited to get to meet these guys. I grew up watching these guys. And we're very excited when we had Doc here several months back. He drew a big crowd.
Doc Gooden, Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, all are going to be in the building on the 25th. It's an unbelievable opportunity for people. Bob Eusler is going to be here. He is at Mr. Met. He's on WFAN. He's done shows for 30 years on WFAN. This is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be right here, just like the seating is. They'll sit up front and do a Q&A for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have a set up for a Q&A. I mean, we throw parties here. You know that.
I know that. Yes.
We throw vendas here. So we'll do it right, and it'll be like the Gronk. But if you are a Mets fan, you can't miss this. So
all right.
There's no way you can get around it.
And again, the details you're watching there on YouTube. Q&A with Mets legends, Friday, October 25th, 90 minutes here. Dwight Gooden, Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, complimentary drink, and hear incredible stories here. This is this has sort of been your idea. Like you want to be a sports book, but also kind of an event center for sports fans across New England. And you're going to do that on the 25th. Very cool.
Very cool event. And then the week after Breeders' Cup. So
nice.
We'll be back in house.
MoheganSun.com/sportsbook. I also will say there were tickets on Ticketmaster. I looked earlier today, and very affordable if you're a Met fan. I got a friend, Chris Clemmer, diehard Mets fan, trying to get him in here that night. He loves the Mets. We'll get him down here on the 25th. Meanwhile, people are only here to hear your picks. They don't care about my picks. Don't care about Eitan's picks. We'll go right to the top of the hour. People know right now, Sportsbook Mohegan Sun, Sportsbook Live. They want to get here. Great place to bet on sports. Unbelievable place for other nights out, date night, awesome VIP section you can rent out as well. All the details, MoheganSun.com. substack.com/sportsbook. You have 3 picks for us this week, Bomber. Whatever order you want to go in, you'll start, and then Eitan and Guy give some picks, and you can make fun of our picks between now and the end of the show.
Well, I don't want you to think people don't care about your picks, because they do.
Why?
Handicap the handicapper.
Oh, they want to fade us.
Yeah, so you can fade me up somewhere. Okay. All right, so let's give some winners out. Let's see what happens this week. So, ugly team in this one, but New Mexico State catching 9 at home, playing New Mexico. 2 bad teams, really, really bad teams. I don't know if either one of these 2 teams could beat a high school team in Texas. So how New Mexico is favored by 9 points, I have absolutely no idea. So I want New Mexico State plus 9 at home. I will play them on the money line too, because they have won against New Mexico the last couple years. The other one is an overreaction game, and I think the wrong team's favored in this one. I want North Carolina over Duke. Duke's a small favorite at home. Overreaction from the way North Carolina played last week, but if you look at that score, the box score, North Carolina ran up and down the field. They turned the ball over 3 times. I think they had a blocked punt. They had a bunch of other stuff going on. So 7 out of the last 10 games, North Carolina's won. And I think North Carolina was favored in like 8 or 9 of those 10 games. So I think the wrong team's favored. Give me North Carolina plus the points. Buy it up to 3 if you can, but I like the money line on that one. And then on Sunday, real quick on Sunday, anti-play on Buffalo, home. Monday night blowout winner, going on the road the following week. I'll take the Ravens, lay the 2.5 in that spot. And that's not good.
North Carolina, New Mexico State plus 9, Ravens 2.5. Do we build out a parlay for what we got there? 2-leg gets you 310. That Ravens, like we had them in Sunday Night Football prime time. Where is that right there? 2.5. 7-1.
So can I say something real quick about that?
I'd have to take the Ravens on the money line at that point, right?
Yeah. So that what I was going to say too is, see how you put that in, and you got North Carolina on plus 115, and you got 7-1. Can you change that and take the points and see the difference?
Sure, but wouldn't you also want the minus 130 as opposed to laying the 2.5 here?
Yeah, very possibly, but change the first one. Then let's see. I want to show people the difference.
Yep.
In the payout.
Sure thing. So we'll go.
So you're saying you want the difference between the money line North Carolina versus
Correct.
getting the points.
Getting the 2.5.
So
not that different.
Not that different, but over time, that's a big difference. So look for those.
Can you indulge me though? I'm just curious. See how bad this looks here, because I'm curious what the Ravens at minus 130. It's probably going to be what, 550, maybe closer to 600 if we're lucky.
You got Ravens. You just went right past it. You're right on it. Oh, there.
Yeah, 562.
Go back to money line on North Carolina. Now you're probably back up over 6, closer to 7. That might be a good place.
See,
the point being, sort of shop around and build your best price.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely,
yeah, makes sense.
So look at what your best options are. I'm not saying go crazy and just try to do it because it's going to pay more. I think in this situation, playing the Ravens on the money line and then playing North Carolina on the money line, so you're getting over 6-1. A 3-team parlay should pay 6-1.
Absolutely.
Right? So you're getting over 6-1. That's what I mean by using your common sense and don't go crazy. Once you get past 4 teams, I just think you're up against it. And this is a reason that you can play parlay.
We'll end the show with your take on Cowboys and Giants. But Eitan, let's go back and forth on our best bets. People want to fade us, or certainly fade me after my terrible week last week. Why don't you go first, since you were 2-1 and I was under 500?
So do you want me to go all 3 of my plays?
Fire away. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles minus 2 here. That's going to be my first play. We talked about this game, you and I. A big reason is because of the run. And if you can outrush your opponent by 30-plus yards, chances are you're covering a spread. That's my goal here. 5 yards on the carry versus giving up 5 yards on the carry for Tampa. That's where Saquon Barkley and the Eagles strike, especially with Hurts, who can move. I don't know what people are waiting for, but the biggest thing that jumps out to me for Minnesota, fellas, is their defense. It's traveling. It's limiting teams 17 points per game or less through 3 weeks. We talked about that system, weeks 3 and 4. This is week 4. Sam Darnold getting an insane amount of MVP love. But the reality is they have a really good football team with talent in the right spots and a quarterback who's not asked to win every single game. And if you love this stuff, got a little bit of Aaron Jones going back home. And I always love when you can add a little bit more of a locker room element look like that. Looks like Rashawn Johnson's going to play. It looks like he's going to play for Chicago and get some carries here. I jumped on him as an anytime touch. I think if you want to have a little fun, you could sprinkle him for a 2-touchdown day, but I'm definitely going to play him half unit on an anytime touchdown.
All right, I admitted I started the show saying that I'm rattled on my side picks. It's affecting me in all sorts of places. Give me the
Here
Bengals.
you are right again with it.
Yeah, give me the Bengals -4.5. They're 0-3 in record only. They're a better team than that. They had terrible fumble luck against the Patriots in week 1, Kansas City week 2. They got Jaden Daniels in week 3. They are better than this number, and the Panthers, an overreaction. I mean, they got a lifeless Raiders team last week. I'm sorry, the Bengals will not be surprised by Andy Dalton.
Can I just say something real quick? I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You just casually glossed over and said, well, they had Jaden Daniels in week 3. It was a home game against
Jaden Daniels,
the quarterback.
And he looked awesome, and they weren't prepared for it, but they will not get called their pants down against Andy Dalton. He played for that team. They need this win. Burrow said he's going to talk to his coach. This is a throw everything at the Panthers game. They will cover. Weird number. I get it. 4.5. Now, Philly and Tampa. I think you called me sharp because I liked this pick earlier. The under. This thing is flying. It was 44.5. It's down to 42.5. I got it at 44. It's 42.5 right now. I guess I would still play it. I admit I don't love it. Tampa is the slowest team in the NFL in neutral situation pace. All they want to do is run the ball. Philly is banged up out the wazoo. They're going to have to run with Saquon Barkley in this game. On the road at Tampa, remnants of the weather there. We are playing the under in this game. I loved it at 44.5, 42.5 is not as good. This is going to be a very, very slow game. This went under last year in the playoffs, by the way. It's going to go under here as well. Eitan's team may win. This game's going under for a lot of reasons. And I mentioned a player prop. Antonio Gibson is knocking on the door. Knock, knock, knock from Andre Stevenson. Stevens fumbled in all 3 games this year. We're only not talking about New England because he recovered 2 of them. Stan Fran has one of the bottom 5 worst run defenses in the NFL. The only way you can beat San Francisco is run the football. Gibson, even with Ramondre Stevens starting, has gone over this number all 3 weeks. You get a Stevenson benching or a blowout where they want to protect him, he can go way over this thing. This number is going up. I want the over Antonio Gibson 17.5 rushing yards and his receiving number. If it's anywhere around 6.5, 7 yards, I'm playing the over there as well, with the idea that Stevenson's got bad fumble luck. So I don't love my side pick. I love the total. I love the player prop. I love Bombers picks. I hate your Eagles pick. That's my thoughts here on week number 4 in the NFL. Now, your team plays tonight. You got the Romo jersey on, Bomber. It's Cowboys. It's 5.5. What do you want to do with this game?
I'm going to go home and watch it. I think Dallas.
I know that. You've said that 3 times. You're leaving
Dallas,
here at 7 o'clock.
Dallas is the right side if you want to play. I can't play
I
the
agree.
Giants.
Okay. What if it was 6? What if somebody on this show got it at 6?
I don't think it matters.
I'll see you next week.
And I'm on the opposite side of your Philly pick, too. I like Tampa Bay in that one.
Oh, boy.
Man.
Who do you folks like? Giants?
Bomber, disappointing.
Is that a Daniel? Is it Cowboys fans and Giants fans here? Okay.
Yeah, sitting at the table.
I like
Sitting
this.
at the table together.
Go get some $10 bets and you can qualify.
I think they already did. I think Mike already looked them up.
I like that. We're going to pick a winner here in a second. Bomber, anything else for the people as we get set for week 4 in the NFL?
Just remember, good teams win and great teams cover.
Certainly do. If you missed any of the show, watch it on the Odd Shopper YouTube page. You can check out how many Twitter accounts do you have that you make picks from? 7, 8?
Just 1.
9?
That I make
Oh,
picks
there's
on.
more,
Just
there's
one.
more than one. There's more than one Twitter account.
And I make picks on. I don't make picks on the bigger. Look, people
gotcha.
won't believe this. You can ask anybody I work with. I have been spending the last 3 years trying to convince my boss to delete my main account. I can't stand that place. So they made me create a betting account so that I could have enough followers on the betting account to justify deleting that other account. Trust me, I know a lot of people want to see me gone from Twitter. You're going to get your wish as soon as my boss signs off on it. I can't wait to escape from that hellhole, Mutt.
Get your ass down here. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. That's on the billboard here at Mohegan Sun. Good luck in week 4. We'll talk to you week 5 live here. Sportsbook Live presented by our friends. Oh, I'm sorry. One more. I forgot. Next week here, pair of Patriots tickets. We're giving away. Courtesy of Bud Light. So we got $200 bets and Pats tickets next Thursday at 6. Get your ass here. Goodbye.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.